Happy Monday, everybody. As you all know, we have an essay, our first formal essay due this Friday. And so I wanted to create this video announcement for you to guide you a little bit about what I'm looking for. To start with, remember your diagnostics were really strong and you all showed the ability to understand what argument it is and to take a position, to take a side on things. And you have to do that in this class no matter what. So you're never riding the fence, right? You always have to have an opinion, and you're always going to back up that opinion paragraph to paragraph. With that being said, what's different here between the first essay, the diagnostic, or the practice essay, and this one is that you have multiple sources. So you're not deciding between two things. It's not either facial recognition is good or is bad, right? Or we should use it or we shouldn't. Now you're looking at 5 different news articles, and you're determining which of the articles that you've read gives the best reporting on a story. So let's just stop there for a minute. Let's realize that I'm not asking you to report the story. I'm not asking you to tell me what happens. The topic is completely irrelevant because you can deal with a baking subject as far as I'm concerned, right? But what you are going to do is you're going to evaluate these sources when you read them and in your mind come up with criteria why you think one is better than all others. And that reason is completely subjective. It's totally up to you. Maybe you like more comprehensive coverage. Maybe you like interviews. Maybe you like graphics. Maybe you like local coverage. Maybe you just like it, right? And you can identify and articulate the reason why in your own way. But your thesis will be at the end of the introduction, and you'll say something to the effect of, after reviewing all of these sources on this topic, it is clear that X, whatever source you choose, gives the best coverage. Now you're going to end your thesis that way. You don't want to list the reasons why. You might have been taught that, but you don't do that anymore. It's sort of fundamental, if you will. You don't need a list to guide you. You just need a thesis, and the logic guides you after that. Because that list of reasons why you think one source is the best, and you might have 4 or 5 or 6, those become your claims in argumentation. So instead of giving a list of reasons in the introduction with the thesis, you actually take those reasons and you build your paragraphs around those reasons one by one. Now you can put them in deductive fashion, which is at the very beginning or topic sentence of a body paragraph, or you can put them in inductive fashion, which is the very end or last sentence of a body paragraph, and it doesn't really matter. Now, what scares some people about this particular essay isn't that it's long. That's not going to be an issue for you. What scares some people is because you have to make choices. And sometimes going back to old modes might feel comfortable for you, but they'll backfire here. So you're going to resist, all of you will resist the temptation to say, here are 5 sources, this is what they say, because that's not what this course is, right? That's a mode that you were taught prior to this, probably sometime in high school or even before, where you're just listing things. So if you find yourself saying source A does this, source B does this, just know you need to stop because it won't get a passing grade, because that's not what we're doing here, right? We're doing argument. This isn't about ordering your ideas according to your sources. It's ordering your essay according to your ideas. So argument is driven by claims. If you find yourself writing and the next source is, you're in trouble, okay? But if you can say, well, another reason why article X is superior to articles Y and Z is because of this, and you give a specific reason and you develop that either deductively or inductively, well, you're very much on the right track. I don't have any prescriptive ways to write. I think everybody writes a little bit differently. What I'm looking for are identifiable claims. Let me slow down and back up a little bit. I'm looking for an introductory paragraph in HST format that explains what the topic is after it gets the reader's attention and then leads up to the thesis. I'm looking at body paragraphs that have clear purposes. You're either developing a claim, reanalyzing a claim, or presenting a counter-argument and refuting the counter-argument in a body paragraph. So you want to know what your function is. So there are a couple ways to do this, and these are your choices, so don't get scared, right? Because you have 5 sources here, it's perfectly okay just to say source A is the best, and then your first paragraph is source A is better than source B because of X, Y, and Z. And then the next paragraph can be source A is better than source C because of X, Y, and Z. And then the following paragraph, source A is better than source D, etc. That's a simple structure and it works in argument. That's fine. Okay? But don't be afraid to combine ideas as well. You can simply add a counter argument to one of your paragraphs. While some people think that source B is better than source A for this reason, it actually is incorrect to think this way, and then you go on to your claim. So the only stipulation in argument is that you have one counter argument somewhere. And here you have 4 built-in ones because there are 5 sources, so one's the best and the other 4 don't measure up. And if you want to, you can build your whole body around counter arguments. You look at source B and you say why it's not as good as source A, right? Same thing with the next paragraph, source C. Some people think it's better than source A, but it isn't for these reasons. So it's just about the wording that you choose. Okay? Now, when you're writing argument, the most important thing the reader looks for is your voice. The reader wants to feel controlled by your logic, by your emotion, by your use of credibility, that is quotes, if you will. So yeah, you're going to quote your sources, and you're going to analyze those quotes. So in the structures that I give you in the notes for this week and the previous week, we talk about CSR format, claim support reasoning, or RSC, reasoning support claim. One is deductive, one is inductive. They're not fancy names. But the idea is that you have to give quotes as supports, quotes from the articles that you're looking at, and then your reasoning is that you interpret those quotes to show how they strengthen the claim and back up the thesis. So argumentative writing is about tying up, weaving things together, right? Once you present a quote, you interpret it, you show how it proves the claim in the paragraph, and then you go to how it proves the thesis overall, and then you can transition on in any way that you want to. So I'm looking for those structural elements. I'm looking for clear claims. I'm looking for a clear counter argument somewhere. I'm looking for your defense of those claims in the paragraphs you present them, and a defense of the thesis as well at the same time. So, best idea for you is just to write out an outline. Hey, here's what the source that I think is best is, here's why. Or you can do it as, this is why these don't measure up. You don't have to be very formal about it. You just need to go in and say, okay, I know what I'm going to do in this paragraph, and then execute it according to the structures that you have in the notes. I'm always here to help, and I'll look forward to reading your drafts if you'd like. Give me a heads up. I'd have to have them by Thursday midday, okay, to be able to help you. That way I don't turn them around on the same day that they're due. But reach out if you'd like. And I have a sample here that I was going to show you, so we'll make this video is getting a little long, so we'll try to make it quick. This is a sample from last semester. You do have some samples in the modules here, but I just want to show you, like, first of all, when I opened this essay, this was from the spring, I was like, oh, this is an essay, and yeah, I mean, I see this as a teacher. I mean, the spacing, the MLA form, it's already great. I can see that the student is attentive to detail, and then we have the thesis. NBC's article does the best job of explaining the order, blah, blah, blah. And then the first body paragraph is inductive. It just starts out by giving information, and it leads up to a clear inductive claim. Okay, this is what makes NBC's article superior to Fox News. Again, inductive meaning at the end of the paragraph. And the next paragraph and the paragraph after that in this essay take the same approach. They're all inductive. I love the fact that this student has fleshy, pithy, meaty paragraphs, and she's not afraid to go ahead and really develop 14 sentences. Your top's about 15, right? But to really think through the issue with the reader to be convincing. All right, and finally, always don't forget to go through the grading rubric and the top 20 errors to avoid before you submit it. These are good editing tools. They just help you edit your own work. And I wish you luck. I'm rooting for you all, and I hope to meet with you all soon.